Hey everyone, and welcome to this Wikipedia. Today we're going to do a complete teardown and clean out of a Dyson V6 vacuum cleaner. These are also pretty similar to the V8, the V10, the V11, so you may be able to follow along if you've got one of those models. I have done this on the channel before, but I think it's time for a little bit better, more clearer, updated video. And lately I've been doing a lot of stuff with the retro consoles and computers that you see behind me. That's on my other channel, the retro channel, which I'll link to, but enough about that. Let's get straight into breaking one of these open. Right, so we're going to focus on the one that doesn't have the HEPA filter. Really the only difference is the back covers. These are not interchangeable, but for the one with the HEPA filter, really the only cleaning you can do is either to try and clean this or just replace the whole thing. I'll put links down below for some of the tools and the spare parts for these things, but yeah, that's really all you can do with the back part of the V6 Absolute. So we'll put this aside for now. And let's get on to pulling this apart. So a few tools you'll need. A Torx T8 driver, preferably something with a thin shaft, because some of the screws that are inside here are quite tricky to get to, and if you've got something too chunky, you'll never be able to reach them. Phillips head screwdriver, pretty standard, nothing special there, and a smaller blade flathead screwdriver, and a plastic pry tool, or failing that, an old card will do. That's literally all the tools we'll need. So how do we do it? First of all, open up the dust bin, and then if you click down the handle again, you can actually pull the dust bin off. That can just get sort of a clean out with a cloth. I wouldn't recommend sort of submerging it because you'll get water stuck in this area here, and it's not very easy to get this part off. So yeah, just a wipe out will be fine for that. Second thing we're going to do is remove the battery. Now we've got access to this Phillips head screw here, which holds the battery in. You can just unscrew that. And there's another screw in the back of the handle. Once again, it's just a Phillips head screw. Once you've got those two out, you can just pull the battery out. Put that aside. Obviously, don't wash the battery. Alright. Now that we've got that done, we need to get this second filter off. So you'll need just a plastic pry tool, and just sort of squeeze it in between the black piece here and the actual filter itself, and just sort of run it around. Obviously you can also use an old card for this, something that you don't really worry too much about, and eventually that part will pop off. You can set that aside for now. Next we're going to remove this piece, and it's held in by 5 Torx screws. So you will need the Torx T8 driver, and yeah, just unscrew those screws. Now, like I was saying, I think the V8 and the V10, V11 models, I think the canister comes off slightly differently. I'm pretty sure it's got a red button further down that you have to push to get it off. But then after that, most of the rest of this disassembly process is the same. So if it helps you out, let me know in the comments if you find that it's completely different for the V8 and other models. Like I said, unfortunately I don't actually have one here to show and to confirm that it's the exact same method. So also, if you're watching this, maybe have a look in the comments down below, see if anyone else has sort of chimed in with how the other models come apart. Alright, once you've got those 5 screws out, you can just pull this part off and obviously set all these screws aside and put that aside. Getting there. This part literally just pulls out. It might be a bit stuck depending on how much dust and crap is in there. Oh yeah, the filter, obviously you can take that out from the top. You can buy replacements of these, which is probably easier if yours is a bit smelly or scummy. The other option is you can also wash them, which is what it suggests to do, but they do take a very long time to dry. If you are going to wash them, I'd recommend pushing in these little tabs so that you can actually remove the filter part from the main body. Alright, onto this part. There are now another 4 Torx screws sort of in between every second flute that are going to have to get removed. So, before I do that, let's remove this part from the main body. So there's 2 tabs, white tabs in here that you just want to push in with your flathead screwdriver, and at the same time sort of pull with the other hand away from the main body, and it should start to release. Once you get about that far, you just got to sort of wiggle it around until it comes off. So that's the main body. We'll come back to this in a sec because I will show you how to also remove this part, which also houses a couple more filters. But let's finish off pulling this down. So now we can get to these 4 screws, and there's also 2 screws back here that were concealed by the main body of the vacuum. So remove these 2 screws. They are slightly shorter than all the rest of the screws, so make sure you remember to keep the shorter ones separate so you can put them back in the right spot. But the rest of the screws are all the same length and size. Those 2 are out, and yeah, 4 more inside the body of the vacuum cleaner. You may need a brush or something depending on how much filth is actually stuck in these segments, just so you can actually see where the screws are and get your Torx driver into the actual screw heads. Yeah, this is why I recommend something with a thin shaft, because if it's too thick, it will not get down to these screws. But like I said, I'll try and link as much useful stuff in the description of the video. There may be some affiliate links. Basically, if you buy something using those links, I will get a few cents. It won't cost you anything extra, but it'll help me out. Otherwise, if you really want to help me out, throw me a couple of bucks by PayPal, or you can even buy me a coffee on Ko-Fi. Hopefully I've saved you buying a new vacuum cleaner, so yeah, just consider it. So we've got this part separated. This literally just pulls out, and there is a little rubber piece here that also comes off. There's a sort of like a felt gasket here, which you can gently remove. Just be careful not to rip it. Obviously, it's going to stop air from getting in where it shouldn't be, so you don't really want to destroy any of these things. There's the top, and there's another sort of felt gasket in here, which you can also remove and clean out. But yeah, try not to rip them. If I can find them, I will leave some links down below and where to source these as well. So all of this stuff can get a wash in just warm soapy water. Like I said, I don't recommend washing the well, submerging the canister. You can obviously wipe out the inside, but yeah, if you submerge it, you'll get water stuck in there, which is what I've actually done. So learn from my mistakes, and yeah, it's rather difficult to actually get this part separated from the canister. So just wipe that out. Right, and the last thing we want to do is remove this filter from the back part of the case. So we need to sort of pry this open just with a plastic card. Obviously, try and use something plastic on all these parts when you're trying to pry them open, because if you use something metal, you're going to bend the plastic and then you're going to end up with, vacuum leaks or whatever. So plastic on plastic, do not be tempted to use a metal screwdriver or something like that. So the handle has popped out from this clip at the bottom, and after that we're just going to run it up along the side, and there's another clip at each side. I think that one has come off, so keep moving around towards the top. And once you get the top, it should be pretty easy. As you can see, there's actually two filters in here. There's this sort of thicker one and another thinner one that runs around the outside. So you can throw those in the wash with all of this stuff. Obviously, do not throw the motor part in the wash. But if you do want to clear this out, an easy way to do it, put the battery back in. Obviously, don't touch anything here while you've got the battery in. Pull the trigger. Keep in mind, dust will fly out from here, so maybe face it towards you. And that'll pretty much get any excess dust out. You can even tap it on the bench a few times and do it again. And yeah, that'll get all your dust out. Then just remove the battery again. So all of this in the wash. Like I said, wipe this out. Make sure that everything is completely dry, like bone dry, before you put it back together. If you put it back together and it's not fully dry, it's going to start stinking again. And yeah, dirt's just going to get stuck in all these places where it shouldn't be. Okay, so hopefully that's helped you out and saved you buying a new vacuum cleaner. Like I said, if you want to throw me a couple of bucks by PayPal or Ko-Fi, I'd be very appreciative. But until then, thanks for watching this Wikipedia. Leave me a comment, like, dislike, any tips, and I will see you in the next one. I am going to do a separate video on cleaning up some of these heads as well. So stick around for that if you're interested. And if you're interested in any of this stuff behind me, be sure to check out my other channel, the Retro channel. But until then, stay safe. Thanks for watching. That's strong.